Hi friends, hi family. I thought I'd share with you more about intergenerational trauma. I first encountered the term in 2014-2015 in Saskatchewan when I went to a lecture. It was really about truth and reconciliation in the context of the Indigenous peoples of Canada. As I was listening to the speaker have this conversation about Indigenous peoples, I began to reflect on, wow, how similar this is to my observations in the Jamaican society. They were discussing the drivers of substance abuse, and I was thinking Jamaica has the most churches per square mile than any other country, and beside every church there's a bar or two. And then I was reflecting, and we might not see substance abuse so much, but we do see the crime and the violence, and that was over a decade ago. That thing hasn't left me, those thoughts about the ills in our society. I have these conversations not because I want to shed a bad light on Jamaica, but because I have some concerns about our collective experience as a people and certain things that we promote in our society. And I don't think we knowingly do it. And so after the passing of Hurricane Melissa, and I saw more and more footage out of Jamaica, I just feel like I need to speak up more on intergenerational trauma. Somebody commented on a post of mine recently about crab in a barrel mentality, and I was thinking, what is it that makes us talking generally, so don't come for me, what is it that makes us tear each other down and we find ourselves not genuinely happy for others? And I was reading this paper, I have it right here, that was published in 2019, and the authors were Wendell Abel, Carol Mitchell, Samantha Longman Mills. The paper is titled The Psychological Trauma of Slavery, the Jamaican Case Study. And in this paper, they were talking about manifestations of intergenerational trauma. Some of these manifestations included shame and anger. But the piece that struck me was what they were saying about shame, and that typically after a collective trauma, survival's guilt is a common experience. And they said that ex-slaves may have experienced survival shame rather than survivor's guilt. And they talked about the difference between guilt and shame. Guilt meaning a feeling that occurs when someone perceives that they've made a mistake, versus shame when somebody perceives that they are a mistake. Their very existence is a mistake. Shame tends to be a more painful experience than guilt and may develop as a result of humiliation and low self-esteem. The shame can be carried throughout our systems, where there's internalization of the doctrine of inferiority, where former slaves end up being ashamed of their very existence. And it says that this can be carried through intergenerational transmission of trauma, as the devaluing and denial of traumatic experiences may result in the victims of trauma becoming perpetrators of trauma. And they said that shame is not only an emotion, it's a state of being, something to hide, to repress from our awareness. And that shame is a prevalent part of the Caribbean context. And we see it manifested in good hair versus bad hair versus being too black, or the bleaching phenomenon, and so on. But I wanted to go back to shame and why one might not be happy for the successes of others. Shame being a way of protecting one's self-worth. So when someone feels ashamed, it can lead to negative feelings towards others, such as envy or resentment. One might not be happy for the success of others due to low self-esteem. So when individuals feel inadequate, they may compare themselves to others, leading to their own feelings of inadequacy or resentment. And another reason could be severe envy, which can be a symptom of a personality disorder. So envy can be a survival instinct, but excessive envy can lead to negative feelings towards others. Being stuck in a negative cycle can make it difficult to feel happy for others, and negative thinking can become a default mindset, making it hard to appreciate the positive aspects of the lives of others. Now, understanding these reasons can help with managing expectations and protecting one's emotional well-being. It's important to recognize that feelings of shame and envy are complex emotions that can be triggered by various factors, and it's essential to approach relationships with empathy and understanding. That's what I want to promote today. Try to approach each other through the lens of understanding and empathy. And empathy doesn't mean that we're excusing the behaviors of others. It means that we're putting ourselves in their shoes and trying to understand the place from which they're operating. With unhealed trauma, there's a lot that we have to unearth, a lot that we have to consider. And so I'm recommending circles of healing in our Jamaican populace, that we begin to talk about this, talk about shame, survivors' shame that we've been carrying for generations upon generations. In the hand, we carry both pride and shame. This complex interplay between shame and pride leads to aggression. And if we don't understand why we carry feelings of shame and how we're quick to say, him diss me, and because him diss me, I'm gonna get angry and obliterate him, then we don't understand why our society is the way it is. I'm imploring us to begin to think more about the root causes of our behaviors so we can reach a place of healing. My fellow Jamaicans, my brothers and sisters, it's a concern of mine, and I'm going to continue to have these conversations. So if you find this interesting, follow along, share with somebody else who you might think would find it interesting as well. We have to take care of each other because we are brothers keepers. Remember now that a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, and a broken spirit dries the bones. If each one takes care of the person in front of and beside him, everyone will be taken care of. I'm Dr. Tamara, your online epidemiologist. Take care now. Thank you for having listened and engaged in this conversation. Thank you.